Hello everyone, you're welcome to today's class. So in this class, we want to continue our discussion on a fraction. And this aspect of fractions I want to look at is decimal fractions. So as you can see on the board, we have decimal fractions. So, decimal is the same thing as decimal fraction. So that's what we want to look at. So objective for this class, we want to look at place value of decimals. Then we want to look at types of decimals. Then we want to look at addition and then subtraction of decimals. Then we look at multiplication and division of decimal. So that's what we want to achieve. Now, when we talk about place value, I think I have to discuss about place value. We're looking at the worth. We're looking at the worth of a digit in a number, right? So if that number is not a decimal number, so how do you now find out the worth or the value of that digit in that number? That's what we want to look at first. So let's look at that. So place value here. So we look at, so let's say for instance we have 0.45123, or let's say 10 points. So we have this. So we want to find the value of uh, let's put this on the 7. We want to find the value of 7 in this number. We want to find the value of 2. We want to find the value of everything here. So this number is divided into two parts. So the first part here is the whole part, while this part here is the decimal part, right? So this is the decimal point. So immediately after the decimal point, all the digits we have there are under decimal part. Now let's now look at how do we find this. So this is all parts. This is the decimal. Let me clean this. So this is whole number, right? Then this is decimal point. This decimal point. So this one has its name. So let's have this. Let's have this, and what's this? Now, immediately after the decimal point, so the next digit will be, this is decimal point, Immediately after the decimal point, so what we have here is what we call tenth. What do I call it? Tenth. But it is immediately after the decimal point. For example, if I write 2/10, or let's say 3/10. If I have to pronounce this, I'll pronounce that as 3/10. 3/10. TH at the back. So here, this will be what? Tenth. Tenth. Right? The next one is hundredth. 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 While the next one is thousandth. Thousandth. Right? So this one will be what? 10,000th. 10,000th. Thousandths. Right? Why this one is what? 100,000ths. 100,000ths. Right? That's 100,000ths. Now, if you want to write this, if you write 4/10, and you want to write it as a digit, so this will be 4 divided by what? 10. That is 4/10. 4/10. So why is it 4/10? If I want to change this one to decimal, so what we're going to do, we have the 0 here. This will give us 0.4, which is exactly what we have here, 0.4. I believe I'm making sense. That is the real interpretation of this. So that is what we call, that is the place value. These are the place values of decimals. And let's now see how we can write some digits in a digit, some numbers in digits and what? Words together. It's like 4/10, 5,000, 3,000, 4,000, and so on and so forth. So that's what we want to look at now. Write the following in decimal numbers. We have 9 tenths, 15 hundredths, 321 what thousands. So how do you write that? So it's very straightforward. So what we're going to do, we're going to write as a fraction first. The first one that we have there is a 9 tenths. 9 what? Tenths. So which is 9 divided by what? 10. So in like dividing this one, we're still going to look at how to divide the decimals, right? So we are dividing 10. We are dividing 9 by what? 10. So that gives 0 0.9. So it's in the what? 10th place. 10th place. So that is that. So the second one, 15 hundredths. 15 hundredths. So we want to write 15. That will be 15 divided by what? 100. Which will give us a 0.15. That is, we must have 2 digits after the decimal point. That's what these 2 zeros means. You must have 2 digits after the decimal point. So that will be 0.15. Now, for example, if you now have 3 hundredths, you have 3 hundredths. How do you write this one? That will be 3 divided by what? 100. So which means you must have 2 digits after the decimal point. You have 0 points. So this is 1 digit. So you must have another 0 to make it 2. Not that you are going to write the 3 0. No, this will be wrong. This is 10. You can see the 3 is in the place of what? Tenths. Not in the place of what? 100. So this is the 10th place, then this is the 100th place. I believe this is very, very clear. Good. Then the last part here, we have 321 thousandths. So that is the same thing, 3 over 1000, right? So we want to write this will be, it means 3 here, 321, right? So we must have 3 digits. What? We must have 3 digits after what? The decimal point. That means we're going to have 0.321. That is 300 and what? 321 thousandths. So this is 0.003. Is that clear? I hope this is very clear to you now. So that means that before you can write it as decimal, you must first of all take it to fractions so that you not make a mistake, right? So thousands means 1,000 divided by 1,000. Hundreds means divided by 100. If it is million, you divide by what? 1 million, and so on and so forth. That is that on that. So let's look at types of decimals. So we have the first one is terminating decimal. Terminating decimals, and we have one recurring or repeating decimal. Recurring or repeating decimal. So terminating means that the decimal has an end. Let's say for instance we have 0.5 is an example, 0.45 is another example, 0.75 is an example. So all these examples are terminating what? Examples of terminating decimal. That is, the decimal has an end, and it has the last digits is known. But recurring decimal are decimals that the numbers are repeating. It has no ending. It just continues. That's when you have 1 over 3, the answer will be given 0.33333, and so on and so forth. It will continue like that. That is recurring or repeating decimal. Sometimes you have 0.42424242. Sometimes you have another one, 0.124124. It will be repeating itself. So all these ones are what? Recurring or repeating decimal. So these are the types of decimal we want to look at in this class. Now let's look at addition and subtraction. Addition and what? Subtraction. Subtraction of what? Decimal. The same way we add whole numbers, it's the same way we add decimals. So just the same way, you must just make sure that you observe the place value of the digits. If you don't do that, you make mistakes. So let's look at this first. So the first example I'm going to show you is this. 1, add 0.423 12.219 7.3 together. So we want to add all these together. So the first thing you need to do is to write it out. You know, here you are trying to learn how to add this without using calculator. So with calculator you can do it straightforward. But here we want to learn how to do it without calculator. So don't say because there's calculator. There are some things that will be revealed in this that will help you subsequent topics. So you need to pay attention here. So we have, so solution here will be 0.423. Then this, now you can see this is the whole part. This is the whole part here. And this will be the unit part. So 2 will be written under this one, then 1. Then decimal under decimal. What you have next is 219. It will be written under this, this, and this. The next one is 7.3. So 7 will be written under 2 points. Then 3 will be written here, not here. So this will be 0, 0. Then you can then add them together here. Right? So you add them together. 3 plus 9, that gives 12. Rise to carry 1. 1 plus 2, 3 plus 1, that is what? 4. Then 4 plus 2, that is 6 plus 3, 9. Then you put your decimal point. Right? So 0 plus 2, that is also what? 9. Then 1. So that means the answer is what? 19.942. I hope this is very clear. So if it is subtraction as well, so example 2 here. So subtract 3.98, 398.9 from this. So what you're going to do here is straightforward. So which one is bigger? This is bigger, you put it at the top. That'll be 897.23 minus 398.9. So then you can see that unit under unit, tens under tens, and then what? Hundreds under hundreds, decimal under decimal, tenths under tenths. And we don't have hundreds there, so we have this way. So the arrangement matters a lot. Don't just arrange it anyhow. That's the most important aspect of it. So let's now subtract 0 minus 3, that gives us 3. Now this is 2, this is 9. You cannot remove 9 from 2. You have to take from this place. This remains 6, and it's going to become what? 12 here. Right? So the one you are taking from this plate is 10. And when you add 10 to 2, that gives 12. 12 minus 9 gives what? 3 as well. So we do points here. So we have 6 here left, and this is 8. You also take from this place, and it remains 8. And this will become 16. 16 minus 8 will give us what? 8. This is 8 here. You take 1 from it to remain 7. You put it here, it's become what? 18. 18 minus 9 gives us 9. And this is 7 minus 3 gives what? 4. So that is how to subtract this. We can see it's just the same thing with normal additional subtraction of what? Whole numbers. Now we want to look at multiplication. There are multiplication of decimals here. There are some things that will be revealed and you have to be very careful how to multiply decimals, which is very easy. I'm going to walk you through the shortcut method of doing that to make your work faster, because at this level of your learning, so you might be denied the use of calculator, right? So in that case, you must know how you can maneuver yourself while solving math problem. So that's because this topic is very important, because there's no way you're not going to come across it in subsequent topics. That is the essence of you paying attention to details in this video. So we'll move to the multiplication and division now. So please. Alright, so the first part we're going to look at under multiplication is multiplication by power of 10. What do I mean by that? So if what you are multiplying by a decimal is in 10, you have like 10, 100, 1,000, You know, this is 10 raised power 1, while this is 10 raised power 2 and 10 raised power 3. If you have it this way, just make sure that it is 10. It's not, if it's 20, it's quite different. The way you're going to multiply is quite different from this. If it is 10, if this one is 5, we are not going to use this method. So what you're going to do, for example, now you have 1.36 multiplied by, let's say, 10. You want to multiply this by 10. So what we expected to do is this. So without coming to this place, 1.36 times 10 and blah 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 blah. No, within 1 second you pick your answer and out. Now this is 10. It has how many zeros? This 10 has how many zeros? 1 0. So that means you're going to move these decimal points one place to what? To your right. So if that means you're going to bring the decimal point here. That means this would what? 13.6. You just move it once. Simple. So if what you have here is, if it is 1.36 times 100, how many zeros do we have here? We have 2. So which means you move it how many times? Twice. So this will give you what? 1, 3, what? 6. You have 1, 2. So it's coming here, which is same thing as 136. I believe this is very clear. So if it is, you have 42.354 times 100,000 times 100,000. So what are you going to do here? You move the decimal point how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you count what you have there is 1, 2, 3. You have 3. So that means 4, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. It remains how many? It remains 2 zeros. So you have the 2 zeros at the back. Let's do it again. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And after the decimal point, we have how many digits? 1, 2, 3. So that covers the first 3. So it remains how many zeros? And we don't have any other digits. You just add zeros to it. So this will change the value to be 4,500,000. 4,234,500. You can see. So that is how to multiply by power of what? 10. But if it is division by power of 10, let me quickly look at that before looking. Division by what? Power of what? 10. You want to divide decimal by power of 10. For example, you have 0.36 divided by what? 10. Divided by 10. So what are you going to do here? You can see under multiplication, we move the decimal to the right, forward. So under division, you move it what? Backward. So this means that 0.36 will then be what? 1. You move the decimal point there. So you then put your 0. That gives you 0.036. If what you have there is 36.42 divided by 100, what are you going to do? You do the same thing. Move it 1, 2. That gives you 0. The point is here. Then you write the number 3642. So that's how to multiply and divide by power of what? 10. Take note, power of 10 means 10, 100,000, and so on and so forth. Is that clear? So that is how to do that. So you've learned this is very, very important. It will help you a lot in your subsequent topics and then the subsequent classes that you're going to go. So that is that on this. Then we now look at normal multiplication of decimals. You want to multiply decimals. How do you do that? You want to multiply. So we look at power of 10. So we look at power of 10. So let's now look at the normal multiplication. So for example, you have 2.36 multiplied by 0.2. You want to multiply this. So what you're expected to do is write it out 2.36 then 0.2. So what you're going to do, ignore the decimal point in the first instance. You ignore what? The decimal point and multiply straight. There's only for you to multiply 0, right? So just put 2 here, right? So 2 times 6 gives what? 12. You carry 1. 2 times 3 gives what? 6. Plus the one you carried before, that gives what? 7. 2 times 2 gives what? 4. Right. All this is clear now. So the next stage is, how many digits do you have after the decimal point 10? We have 2 digits. How many here? we have 1. Making how many digits? 3. So you now count from the back here. 7, 2, 1, 2, 3. Then you put a decimal point here, and this gives your answer. Now your answer, that means 2.36 multiplied by 0.2 equals what? 0.472. If you want to confirm, you use calculator to confirm. So when you use your calculator to confirm it, 2.36 times 0.2, and that is 0.472, as you can see. So that is that on that one. I believe this is very clear. So let me give you one more example on this. So you want to involve 2 digits. We have, let's say, 3, 4, 1.2 multiplied by 1.02. Now look at this one. That's the same thing. Normal multiplication. So you do it. This will be 431.2 multiplied by 102. That's what you're going to do. You ignore the decimal points. Just ignore the decimal points and multiply straight. 2 times 2, that gives 4. 2 times 1 gives 2. 2 times 3, that gives 6. 2 times 4 gives what? 8. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Then 1. So written under 1, that will be 2. 1. This is what? 3. And this is what? 4. Then add everything together. This gives 4. This gives 2. This gives what? 8. This gives what? 9. This gives 3. This gives what? 4. So after that, you now come back to the question. You have a digit after the decimal point here. You have 2 digits after the decimal point. Count 3. That makes 3. 1, 2, 3. So which means your answer will then be 439.824. Now take note of something. When you are reading decimal number, so the digits after the decimal number are pronounced one by one. You will not say 824. That's wrong pronunciation. So it should be what? 439.824. You pick the digits one by one when you are reading it. I hope this is very clear. So that is that on multiplication of what? Decimal. So let's now quickly look at division of what? Decimals. We want to look at these examples. This is what we're going to look at to solve the problem. Now the first one is 40 divided by 0.2. 40 divided by 0.2. Now the first thing we're going to do here is this. We have 40, that is number 1. 40 divided by 0.2. So what we're going to do is that we want to change, let's change this to 40 divided by 0.2. Now, we want to change this decimal to a whole number. Now, once we change this, whatever that is done to 0.2, which is the denominator here, must be done to the numerator. Now, how can we change 0.2 to a whole number? 0.2. So if we multiply by 10, what do we have? We are going to have 2. Don't worry, don't forget that we've done multiplication by power of 10. So when you multiply by 10, you move to the what? To the right. So you move decimal point, that gives us 2. So because we have multiplied 0.2 by 10, so that means we're going to say 40 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 10. So we are still having the same number because 10 cancel 10. So this means this will then give us 400 divided by what? 2. 400 divided by what? 2. And that gives what? 200. That is the answer. So if you use your calculator to do this, you get the same thing. 40 divided by 0.2, you have 200, as you can see here. I believe that is very clear to you. So if that is the case, let's look at number 2. Number 2 here, we have 8.5 divided by 0.05. So in writing in this way, 8.5 divided by 0.05 here. So the same thing, we want to do the same thing here. We did here. So what are we going to do? So we're going to change this one to whole number. So you can see we have 2 digits after the decimal point, which means we multiply this one by 100, it will give us a whole number. That's how you know. You count the digits after the decimal point, 1, 2. That's why I multiply by 100. Here we only have 1. That's why I multiply by what? 10. So So that means we multiply this one. This will be 8.5 times 100 divided by what? 0.05 multiplied by what? 100. And that gives what? 8. So when you multiply by 1, 2, that would be 850 divided by what? 5. So we can now move on. So 5 here, 1, remainder 3, 5 in 35, that is 7. So that means the answer is of 170. I believe this is very clear. So that is this part. If how are you going to that you're going to use this method is this. If the significant digit in the decimal is something that can divide the other number, then you change it to whole number. Like this one, 2 can divide 4. Then 5 can divide what? 85. You don't consider the decimal point. Just okay, can 5 divide 85? Yes, if it can, good. So change them to what? Decimal. Now look at this one. You can see this is long, 9.348. So if you change this one to whole number 12, can 12 divide it without having remainder? That is not possible. You check for that. That is not possible. So what you are going to do, we are going to use two methods together. So the first one we're going to have is we have 9.348 divided by 1 point. So the first thing is change this one to whole number. How are you going to change this? It has a digit after the decimal, which is what? 1. So which means this will become, we multiply this one by 10, multiply what? By 10. That gives what? 93.48. Why this one will be what? 12. So we can then use, we can either use short method of division or use long method of what? Division. So let's use the long method, is one of the best. So we have this. That means we're going to have 93.48 then 12. Don't forget the process of long division method, which is DMSB. The first one is you divide. The second one is what? Multiply. You subtract. Then you bring down. So that's what we're going to follow. So the first thing is 12 in 93, and that is 7. We have divided. So the next is what? To multiply. 7 multiplied by 12. That is what? 84. Right? So the next stage is what? Subtract. You subtract. Get 1 from this. This will become 13. That gives what? 9. This is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. This decimal point here, we put our decimal point here. That's the next thing, we put the decimal point here. Then we bring down. Bring down what? 4. Bring down 4. Then you go back to the next process again. The next step, the first step again. 12 divided by 94. That is 67. Which is, then we what? Multiply. 7 times 12, 84 again. We subtract. How it mean? We what? Subtract. 12 subtract, that is 0, 1. That gives 10. So after subtraction, you do what? You bring down. You bring down this 8. That turns it to what? 108. 12 in 108 is what? 9. 9 times 12. That is 108. So when you subtract this will give you what? 0. That is the end of what? Of the solution. So that means that 9.348 divided by 1.2 equals what? 7.79. I believe this is very clear. So just master the process of long division method. It's very straightforward. But it's the easiest. If you can master this divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. It will be easier for you. So this is where we're going to stop in this video. As you can see, it's very long and we have done a lot in this video. So what I would advise is that try to watch the video twice so that you can master everything once and for all. So this is where we're going to stop. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that anytime I release video like this, you'll be able to get notification of it on time. So, and make sure you give us a big like and share the videos with your family and your friends. So we'll meet in the next video. So bye for now.